What's going on, guys? Aldrin Estacio here with flightpath.com. Now in this video, I just want to talk to you about a few new mounts I was able to purchase from SmallRig. These are for your Sony a6400 as well as for your DJI Osmo Action. And the first accessories we're going to talk about are for the Sony a6400. Now these are the new cold shoe relocation mounts from SmallRig. And the reason why they came up with these is because if you guys don't know, when you use the a6400 flip up screen, it will be right here, right above the lens, which still works out really well. But of course, if you wanted to put something on top of that hot shoe, you're going to be blocking that lens, as you can see, just like that. Now I was able to get around some of that for a while by using a cage, and I'll be talking about the cage a bit more in a future video. I do want to do a follow-up video to my NAB setup. I was able to use this SmallRig cage that goes around the Sony a6400, and that way I'm able to then attach a bunch of accessories to the cage. I'm able to move my microphone over a little bit more, so that way it's not in front of the camera, it's actually put out here to the side. So that was the reason why I purchased the SmallRig cage for my 6400, because I wanted to be able to use the microphone as well as that flip up screen while I was in the field. Now if you want to enhance the audio from your camera, you always want to be able to add in some sort of external microphone. Here I have the Deity microphone as well as the Rode Video Micro, which are both very popular vlog style microphones. So the reason why SmallRig came out with these adapters is so that you're able to move that mount all the way over to one side or the other. They actually came out with two different mounts. One moves it to the left side of the camera, or right side, whichever way you're looking at it, and the other one moves it all the way over to the right side. So let me show you these two mounts real quick. Now this first mount moves your cold shoe over to the right hand side, right above where your trigger is, above the dials. But when it's on there, it actually doesn't affect it. You're still able to, of course, access your shutter. Now the one thing with SmallRig is that they manufacture their stuff really, really well, and it just fits perfectly. So all you have to do is take the mount and slide it into the factory hot shoe right here on top. And now you basically have a cold shoe here on the right hand side. And of course, if you put it on here just like this, it'll be loose a little bit, but they give you a screw mount on the side. So you're gonna use that area where there's a little loop where you would normally put something like a wrist strap or something like that. You would just need to take off the factory triangle loop and remove that, and then you're now able to then screw in the cold shoe mount relocation into that little loop. So once you screw this in here, it makes it nice and tight. That way it does not slip off, it won't just pop off. So once I hook up my external mic, I still have access to my buttons here, as well as my dials up top. But the biggest thing is I'm able to now see my screen. Now, the one thing that's great about this mount is, like I said, it moves it over from one side to the other so that the screen is accessible. The only issue here is that when you have something like this, where you have a cable that goes across the camera, you have to either go in front of the screen, which of course will kind of block it a little bit, or you put it behind it just like that, which is going to be more ideal. However, when you fold your screen down, then you're going to have to do one extra step, and that's kind of move this out of the way, and then you're going to be able to fold it down just like that, and then you're good to go. So it's just a little bit more of a hassle in a way to have it on the right hand side, but this is the side I actually prefer to have it on. And what I do is when I'm normally shooting, I just won't close my screen all the way. I'll kind of close it halfway, just like this. That's if I'm actively shooting. Of course, if I'm storing it, I'm gonna fold it all the way up. But when I'm actively shooting, I will just kind of leave my screen popped just like that. So if I'm vlogging, I'll just have it hanging out like this. Now the next mount that SmallRig came out with moves your cold shoe mount to the left side of the camera. Now slide it in the exact same way as the previous one. The difference here is that the cold shoe mount now is vertical and it's not horizontal, which means if you put a microphone on it, you can still use the monitor just like that, but you just have a wider of a setup. So if you are gonna be vlogging like so, you can do this, but it's just a little wider of a setup. So it's really, really about preference on where you want it, but at least it gives you the option. Now the one thing this mount is really good for is if you use something like the Rode Wireless Go mic system, you just have to slip it in here and it does not make your setup much wider at all. And then there you go, you have a wireless mic system and there's nothing blocking your screen if you wanted to use that. So now this next product I was super excited to get, and I didn't know that they were gonna come out with it so soon, but this is the new cage for the DJI Osmo Action. Now I already know there's a bunch of case companies that are in the works of releasing a new frame for the Osmo Action that has cold shoe mounts around the sides and the top so that you're able to use something like a microphone. But I think this is the first one that came to the market, and I'm actually really surprised from SmallRig because this is a full aluminum cage, and I'm just surprised that they were able to turn this thing around so fast for the Osmo Action. Now, when you first get the cage from SmallRig, it pretty much comes ready to go. It has this housing here on the outer ring, which allows you to use a 52 mil filter thread on the inside. So if you did have any filters that are 52 mil and you wanted to use those filters with this cage, you're able to do so. I don't have any, so I just actually take this thing off. But what's nice is that if you do put the Osmo Action in here, just like so, and close it up with these back screw thumb locks. And now this is what the cage looks like, just with your factory lens up front. And then you have access to the lens right here, the factory lens. Now I did test out the aftermarket filters from Polar Pro as well as Freewell gear, and they work fine. PGY Tech has some new ones that are coming out that actually cover the lens. So I do want to test those out to make sure capability-wise it fits fine. Now, when I first got this cage, I am really kind of blown away with how detailed the cage really is as far as how precise it is cut. Now, it comes with this lens, like I mentioned, this little filter adapter, and it also comes with an adapter here at the bottom that you need to attach, and this allows you to hook it up to existing mounts, very similar to what you would be using if you had a GoPro mount. You're able to access the quick switch with no problem here on the left-hand side. Pull this off, and you can pop it back on. It clicks in. You have access to the door, and then even the battery. So if you want to pop the battery out, let me just turn this off. You have access to the battery at the very bottom. Pop that both out, and there's enough room for it to slide out. And then pop it back in. So the one thing I purchased from before for my A6400 cage was the cold shoe mount. And now once this is tightened on to the top of the cage, you can put something like your microphone on here. So you're able to take, a lot of your existing accessories. If you've already owned an action camera, you more than likely have a ton of accessories that this will work with. I'm using this one, which is from TELLO, which is pretty cool that I like because it kind of offers you a tripod mode like this. So I have a tripod mode style. Then if I want to change that up, close that, and then I can use it as a extending out stick. So if I want to vlog, not only works well once the audio firmware is available for the Osmo Action, then you're able to now use something like external microphones, get a lot better audio than what's built into the camera itself. If you guys already own an Osmo Action, you probably already know that this back screen is just all glass, so it does tend to show some micro scratches on there. So I like it because now I can just put it down on the table, put it down on the ground, and not have to worry about that back screen. And not even that, but it can take a beating and you can, add a little bit more protection to it when you're just out there. So there it is, guys. This is some new accessories for your A6400 as well as for your DJI Osmo Action. If you guys are interested in these products, I'll make sure the links are down below in the video description. And like I mentioned in the very beginning of this Osmo part, the audio adapter at this point is not compatible just yet with the Osmo Action. So I didn't do an audio test, of course, but this is more of what the setup would look like if you were to add some sort of external microphone to the setup. Once the audio adapter is available, as well as when the firmware is ready to go, I'll make sure I do some audio tests to show you the difference between the internal audio from the Osmo Action and then as well as using a microphone. I hope you guys got some value from my video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is Ultra Anastacio with flightpath.com. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.